In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the drag link on this Ford F-350. This is what connects your steering box on one end to your passenger side tie rod on the other end to turn your wheels. Although this only changes the position of the steering wheel, not the alignment, it is recommended that you get one after this job is performed. Let's remove the steering stabilizer from the drag link. Use an 18mm socket to remove the mounting nut. All right, now this actually came out of the drag link, which is great. A lot of times this gets stuck on here. You'll have to tap it up with a hammer. I'm just gonna push this aside. Follow this to where it meets the pitman arm and you'll see a cotter pin locking this mounting nut in. Straighten it out and remove it. Sometimes it's easiest with some cutters, so you can pull on it, discard it. You never want to reuse these. In my case, I have this little cap that's going over the nut, so I'm going to remove that. And then use a 24mm wrench or socket and remove that mounting nut. It is fairly tight, but once you break it free, you should be able to remove it. I'm going to leave this on here just a few threads so that when we separate the stud from the pitman arm, it doesn't come flying down, but rather gets caught by the nut, and then you can remove it when you're ready to. With that said, hammer right on the end of the pitman arm and the vibrations should break this free. Oh, all right, looks like I got it. Take the mounting nut off the rest of the way and pull this down. And on the other end of this drag link, we have the sleeve with the two clamps that need to be loosened up. Now, even though only this clamp will put pressure on these threads, you should loosen both because this one is going to put enough pressure on the whole sleeve to clamp down on these threads still. So get a 15mm socket and loosen up both of these clamps. With this loosened up, I'm going to put a pry bar right in here so I can hold this sleeve, because in my case, these threads are new and these are old, so they're gonna wanna grip onto these a little stronger, and it's going to want to spin the entire sleeve off. I don't want that. So put a pry bar and hammer it right in the center. That'll allow you to hold on to this while removing the drag link. Keep in mind, this is reverse threaded on the drag link, so you're gonna have to spin it clockwise in order to remove it, not counterclockwise. It is also helpful to have some large pliers or pipe wrenches that can grab onto this so you can get some leverage and spin this out. Count the amount of turns it takes to remove this, so when we put it back, we put it on the same amount of turns and we get close to having the steering wheel centered again. Like I said, this does not affect alignment, but it will affect how centered your steering wheel is, which you can always readjust later, but of course you want to get close from the beginning. Now it's 28 turns for me. Of course, it's going to be different for you. And just as a note, it helps to have a bungee cord handy to hang the other side so that it doesn't fall off. And there's your drag link. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads of this drag link so that it doesn't seize up in the sleeve, and will also help it thread on a little bit smoother. Now take your drag link and line it up with the sleeve and thread it on. Remember, it's reverse threaded. For me, this clamp and bracket is coming into contact with this clamp over here, so what I'm going to have to do is loosen this one up so I can move it to the side. Also 15mm socket. Right about here is where it was. I'm going to put this back. There's a cutout on the drag link that the bolt can slide through, so make sure you line that up or it won't go through. I'm going to snug this up. We'll tighten this to 25 foot-pounds. I'm going to leave this loose until I put the drag link up into the pitman arm so that I make sure it's at the correct angle. And of course, once I do that, I can start lining up my steering wheel so it's back to being straight. Then I can lock this in. Now take your drag link and put it back through the pitman arm. Make sure it's seated, and you can spin the pitman arm if needed, of course, to line everything up. Put the mounting nut on. Make sure this is pushed up all the way, and let's bottom this out. The torque on that mounting nut is going to be 129 foot-pounds. If you are unable to torque it, then just do your best to get it nice and tight, and then of course lining up the cotter pin slot. There's a lot in the way here, so most likely it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to fit a torque wrench in this area. If you can, however, once again, 129 foot-pounds. Okay, that's pretty tight right there, and my cotter pin slot lines up, so let's stick that through. Get your cotter pin in, and of course we're going to bend it over to lock it in fully. Let's get the steering linkage damper installed, back through the drag link, and reinstall the mounting nut. Once it's tight and fully seated, torque this to 59 foot-pounds. That's it right there. Now it's time to tighten up this sleeve. Make sure that both ends, this tie rod and the drag link on the other side, are sitting nice and flat, not twisted at a severe angle like this on either the knuckle or the pitman arm. And then of course you're going to want to center up your bracket or sleeve with the two clamps so that everything can line up. And this is also a good time for you to adjust your steering wheel position if you need to do so. Once you've set everything where you want it to be, tighten up these bolts. In my case, I have to hold the bolt head. Typically, you don't, since it'll be a caged bolt. Torque these to 41 foot-pounds. All right, those are tight. Job is done. Don't forget to get in alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.